Okay, these things is drying, but good morning, future self. Let's put you a place that I don't have to hold you constantly. Putting on a water bottle is the best options. Best options. So I am doing literature review, I guess is what it is technically called. Come down here, come down here. I'm down here. Tiny robot. Hi, tiny robot. Can you see me? Okay, great. So basically, I'm like making copies of library books, specifically this one currently, Drawing from Life, Journals as Art, which you probably couldn't understand why I like interested in journal stuff. But I am also going back to Philosophy of Flesh, which is a book I've used a bunch in my research. Abstract video, because there's a piece in here on glitch as revealing the internal components and workings of video codexes as a form of digital black box, which I think will be relevant to machine learning researches, plus Animal Architects, which we're reading this week for Hand Arts for Humans homework, and then Little Robot. I'm right here. Hi, Little Robot. Over here. Ha! I also am reading The Gift, which I can't find. It's on like gift economies and sort of obligatory giving, receiving, hospitality things in pre-monetary societies and the exchange of wealth. And then I also have a bunch of other books coming from Zamzones, which are probably getting delivered today or tomorrow. So I have a million bajillion books, and I have to make copies of them, notes, and all of the things. So, but also, my hair is looking real cute today. I'm really liking my tuft. Tuft. So, tiny robot. Tiny robot has real. So yeah, I guess I will just go over them and make notes and then talk to you about those notes. So, okay, goodbye. Hi, Dog-a-log. She's real upset because it's Soup's windy, so she's hiding behind the bed. I am feeling very tired. I slept very badly last night, so I've decided to take to my bed for doing giant piles of reading. So let's do that. Let's do some giant piles of reading in bed. So, as is probably obvious by now, I am really interested in journals and the Amnesia Diaries notebook, and how it relates to other people's notebooking experiences. So I've been reading this book called The Inside of My Fingers, called Drawing from Life, Journal as Art, by Jennifer New. And I just finished, it's a library book, so I can't write in it. I just finished going through the introduction. And so I want to go over a few things that are in here. To start, there's like a few different definitions of journals, private maps, and also a sort of the argument that visual journals may provide stronger records of the cultural milieu in which they were created than purely written counterparts, which is interesting because I have been resistant to, let me flip you around. I've been resistant to adding photocopies of things I'm reading to the Amnesia Diaries books in the past. For example, I have sort of gotten halfway through this piece called The Commons Infrastructure for Troubling Times, and while I dated it as though I would include it in the book, I never did. And I think I'm going to go back on that decision. I think including what I'm reading, what I think about what I'm reading, all those things in the books will make the book sort of richer experiences for me to make, and also have more data about my thinking as I go forward. So, okay, more definitions. A habit, a map of consciousness, internal maps, a security blanket, memory banks, a one-stop shop. And yeah, this one, memory banks, is probably the reason I started doing this, but has definitely turned into a habit, an internal map. A security blanket, definitely, that in moments when I'm traveling or when I'm stuck somewhere and I feel a lack of control, I definitely turn to the notebook as a form of like recapturing control. And this other author that is quoted, Alexandra Johnson from Leaving a Trace, which I have not read, says a journal is as much an intention to record and save as it is a physical form. And I found that really fascinating since I'm doing these two very different kinds of journaling. The Amnesia Diaries videos and the notebooks, and sort of the tools that we are creating to support that journaling. And I want to talk about tools for a second. Let me find the tools section. So, not surprisingly, journal keepers tend to have specific material requirements about their supplies. Kinds of paper, kinds of pens, thicknesses of paper, things like that. Some people aren't picky, and I think I might fall somewhere between picky and not picky, but the tools listed are generally like paper and pencil, or writing on a computer somehow, like Word Perfect. Look, there's a cute husband. You can see him. Or sort of, but there aren't any listed that are transmedia, maybe. So I'm gonna close this so that you don't hear clicking. But the thing I thought was interesting from this is this reference, some diaries seem too good to use, which I have definitely had the problem in the past of feeling like this pre-bound book is like already perfect and beautiful, empty, and then feeling as though I'm messing it up or something by using it, which is, I know is silly, but other artists listed in here had the same feeling. And what I think that's part of why I use this system, which wasn't listed. None of the other artists listed in this book use 3-ring binders as a form of journal, and I use it because you can add anything to it, and it's sort of the great equalizer. Here, let's put this here, and let's say like black paper with crayon on it. This weird, I don't know, like note-taking paper that I have, a totally different kind of paper, writing it on with Sharpie, which goes on for pages, sort of printer paper that I've done all kinds of stuff to. I've done, I guess this, oh, here we go, like lined paper, unlined paper, these smaller papers, like the ones that I use to take notes, and then, like here, photocopies of a book I'm reading. Everything gets combined into this format. I've even done like 3D pop-out paper models. One of the notebooks has a 3D pop-out paper model of my studio in the 3D binder, or 3-ring, not 3D, 3-ring binder. So yeah, I guess I am kind of picky about my materials, but it's a different kind of picky than the one that's listed in this piece. So other things that were talked about were like slower pace, or a sort of application of attention, things like that. And we were reading in Handouts for Humans homework, reading The Thinking Hand, which I have bought a copy of, and I'll do some printed notes in the book for you, future self. But that thing was talking about sketching as a more highly embodied way of remembering something than taking a photograph. Like if you're at a place and you draw it, that place is like more intensely remembered than if you just take a picture of it. And I've talked a little bit about that before, but that I think is a lot about what they're talking about in here, like the detailed application of attention being the important part of journaling. But there's this quote by Da Vinci that I thought was interesting, which is obviously translated into English. "This will be a collection without order, made up of many sheets, which I have copied here, hoping afterwards to arrange them in order in their proper places, according to the subjects which they treat." And I commented, "Amnesia Diaries is ordered by date. If instead it were rearrangeable by topic or visual similarity, what patterns would emerge?" Because that's one of the limitations of the books in their current state of like technological tooling that's associated with them, is that they have one sort of physical arrangement, which is by date, because that's how I make them, is day by day. But how can I develop new tooling for them so that they can be, sort of rearranged in different ways, using the machine learning to sort of reveal different patterns. So I thought that was an interesting quote by Da Vinci, since I'm coming up against that limitation kind of hard right now. And then, okay, so the one last thing I wanted to talk about from this reading is this quote. "The appeal many journals have for outside readers lies in voyeurism. A journal that lacks this eavesdropping characteristic can be disappointing." I'm going to keep reading. "I remember finding a copy of a great-grandfather's diary and being terribly let down when it recorded little more than the weather and the health of the cows on his farm." And that is also like one of the subjects of Amnesia Diaries. This is a semi-public journal. This isn't something only I ever see, or someone who sort of like took advantage of me or something, mistrust, or broke in and stole my journals. Both the paper notebooks and the videos are intended to have some public life, and the tools I create around them also are intended to have public life. So I wonder if that rule or that truth means that the books are different than they would be if they were entirely private. I don't think that's true, but it might have affected the way that I make the books more than I think that I do. So yeah. In the end, journals may show more fully than any finished piece what it has meant to be us. Hi. I just got fucking street harassed by a car while I was on my bike. By a woman screaming out of her window at me and laying on her horn and like making U-turns and chasing me down and shit and like screaming shit out of her window. I didn't even know why she was upset. She's just mad about some stupid bullshit. Train. now I'm all keyed up and upset, and I'm trying to get myself to calm down. I don't know, she's mad I didn't hear her compliment me and didn't respond, or she's mad that I'm exercising my dog using a bike, or she's mad that I don't know. She's just harassing me and trying to chase me down with her car. And turns out that's not fucking okay. It's not okay. I'm in a very, like, delicate, fragile place, and I'm cycling in a city trusting drivers not to be fucking assholes. Turns out I'm upset about it. But Steve's gonna get me churro at this new place that we've never been to. Ochalos. So maybe churros will cure all things. Churros and coffee. Yeah. Okay, goodbye.